Hello all, in this video we are going to see the constructors demo. For that I'm going to create a gadget class which has gadget ID of integer, gadget name of string, gadget price of type double. Go to your NetBeans, create a project with Java and application, and you would be not creating main class yet. Gadgets or gadget project, finish. And then create a package called gadgets, and in that I'm going to create a class called gadget. What are the variables that we said? Private int gadget ID, private string gadget name, private double gadget price, private. Okay, so we have three variables. So in this video we are going to use insert option to insert the source code. So basically what all we want to do, we already declared private instance variables. Now we want to write the constructor. So write the constructor with all the three arguments. Right click, insert code, use both getters and setters. So click all so that you would be able to get it. So now you get all the getters and setters, and then insert code, you would be able to get the toString as well. Okay, so we are done with writing class. Okay, so in less than 1 minute. And now I should be able to create a main class called gadget driver. Gadget driver. So usually normally what we do here, so gadget ID, we create an object which would be class name, object name is equal to keyword new, class name of, and you would pass the values. ID 1, maybe Samsung, gadget name would be Samsung Nexus, and then the price would be $10. Okay, and now I'm going to print my gadget, which would be G1. So I got my output. So basically gadget ID 1, gadget name Samsung Nexus, and price is 10.0. 10.0 is because it's a double, okay, double value. So in which format I'm getting? So basically my auto-generated toString is in that particular format. So gadget open brace, so gadget open brace is coming here, and then gadget ID is equal to is also coming. So and then 1 is coming from gadget ID. Similarly, you would be able to notice that. So this is the old story which we have already seen. Now what we need to do is we have to create constructors. Okay, so let me create one more constructor. Okay, you may have noticed a couple of different things here. Here you may get the same attribute name that you passed instead of in, and you notice here this. So no matter whether you pass the same attribute name that you declared here or a new name, you could always use this. This refers something to this particular object, which is the gadget class. So that means this dot, means you're going to get whatever the attributes that have been declared or the methods that you have been declared in this particular class. Okay, and let me right click and insert code here. Constructor, I'm doing only gadget ID and gadget name. Okay, so I can create one more constructor as well, maybe just the gadget name and gadget price. So like that you could create different combinations of constructors. Okay, so that means, as we have already seen in the Word document here, you may have more than one constructor. So here how many constructors we have? 3. Okay, so with 3 arguments, with the 2 arguments, with 2 arguments. Okay, so you could create in any order. This parameter list could change order. One is string int or int string, string double or int double, double string, whatever the order that you want to do. It depends on how you're going to create objects there. So let me create a couple of other objects also for you. Gadget G2 is equal to new gadget of, I want to do just the gadget name and gadget price, maybe an iPhone, and then the price maybe $100. I wish it could be $100. And then I'm printing this G2. So remember, in our toString, whenever we call G2, it automatically calls G2.toString. So in our toString, I have 3 different variables, right? So now what it would be able to get, so basically you would be able to get the default value of integer, which is nothing but 0. Okay, so if you are calling something and if you didn't provide there, you would be able to get like that. And now gadget G3 is equal to new gadget of, and what is our next thing? String double we wrote, intent string. Intent string is, let's say 12, comma, and the name, right? Maybe I'm writing just Microsoft Windows. It's out of G3. So now we get 0.00 as our default value. I should not print that in the quotes, which would be 0.00. Okay, so now what we have seen is, in so far we have seen the multiple constructors. And now what we are going to see is, we are going to see a no-org constructor. What is a no-org constructor? A no-org constructor with no parameters, right? So in order to do this, how to write a no-org constructor? So basically a no-org constructor would be public gadget, no arguments. Okay. Excuse me. And you can say that do nothing. So your nor constructor is doing nothing. Okay, and why we are doing nothing, I'll explain you that in few minutes. But now if you go ahead and create here gadget G4 is equal to new gadget of, that's it, because we are not passing any constructors, right? So G4. So now if you print this, what you will get? You will get all the default values of that particular types, 0, null, and 0.00. If you don't want to print the default values, you could write your own default values. Okay, so you could write your own default values, such as this dot which would be able to get ID, gadget ID is equal to maybe minus 99, and then this dot gadget name is equal to, not get name, gadget name is equal to my gadget is not invented yet. Maybe someone have to invent this gadget. And then this dot price, which price? Gadget price is equal to maybe minus 999.0499. So that means my gadget is going to be in the 4-digit cost. Okay. Now if you run, what you will get, since you provided some default values here, you are going to get it. Okay, you're going to get those values. You may have question here. So here I got 0.00, I got a 0 here. Can I get my own default values? Absolutely, you can get your own default values, but what you need to do is you have to write whatever the default value that you are going to provide here. What is this I have to provide? This dot gadget ID is equal to maybe minus 123. So that now you get minus 123. However, it's not mandatory. So you could provide your default values, or it would be able to give the Java default values of that particular data type. Okay. So now what we have seen multiple constructors, we have seen a NOR constructors. Okay, and NOR constructor. So now we are going to see a default constructor. What is a default constructor? The default constructor is provided by Java, is only available if no other constructors are provided in the class. So how many constructors are provided here? One. You could see here actually 1, 2 on the navigator here in the members. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have provided 4 constructors. So if you provide 4 constructors, would Java be able to provide you the default constructor? No. So these constructors are provided by the programmer. So Java will not provide you a default constructor. Okay. So now what will happen is I'm going to comment all these constructors here, which would be a block comment, slash, and then an asterisk sign, and then I'm going to close right after my default constructor, my NOR constructor, which would be asterisk and then slash. So now I have a block commented here. Okay. So if you don't provide any constructor, Java is going to provide a constructor. Okay. So now if you notice, you get errors. That's normal. But you didn't get error in the G4 here. Okay. So let's comment out all the code that we have errors. And there is no error here. Okay. So now save this. So there are no errors. So what we have seen here, I want to recap once again. If there are no constructors, the default constructor provided by Java is only available if no other constructors are provided in the class, which is true. There are no other constructors provided in the class, right? There are no other constructors. No constructors. If you notice here, no constructors. Okay. Even my NOR constructor is also closed. So now what will happen is, now we didn't get any error here. Okay, so let me run this and then we will go back. So this is what provided by Java. If there are no constructors in a class, Java is going to provide a constructor. Okay, and that constructor is called a default constructor. Java is going to provide a constructor called default constructor, and that default constructor has no arguments. So that's why our statement didn't have any error. So if you notice here in the gadget class, so here a gadget constructor is there, which is provided by the Java. Okay, so if Java provides, so especially Java will provide only when you have no constructors in your class, right? So you have no constructors. Java provided a constructor that is called default constructor, and the default constructor have no arguments, and that no arguments means it's going to get the default values of that particular data types. Okay, remember for G4 when we printed that earlier, what we got? We got minus 99, not yet invented, minus 99.9. That means for the no-arg constructor, you can write your own default values, or Java will provide the default values. Whereas for default constructor, you have to get the default values whatever the Java provides. There is no option for you to reset or override the default values that are going to provided by Java. Okay, so this is what you should be able to understand. And one more thing that you should be able to need to understand from this is calling one constructor into another constructor. Okay, so I will show you that. You could uncomment these. You could uncomment and you could run here. So now you are going to provide a constructor. Therefore, Java will not provide a default constructor. You are going to get the printout from the no-arg constructor itself. And the no-arg constructor have values provided by the programmer. However, if you don't provide these values, you are going to get the default values provided by the Java for of that particular data types of the instance variables. So now I'm going to call a constructor in this. Okay, so I already have 3 argument constructor here. If you notice, gadget ID, gadget name, and gadget price. So here also I can call that. How I would be able to call? Whether if you want to call any attribute or any constructor, any method in that particular class, you have to use this. Okay, and then put dot, you would get the attributes and methods. If you put parenthesis, you would be able to get the values here, which would be minus 99, not yet invented, and then minus 999.99, and I'm going to write not yet invented. Okay, so writing in 3 lines, we replace those 3 lines with 1 line by calling the 3 argument constructor here. Okay, so run file, we get exactly the same output. Okay, so basically we replaced those 3 lines with 1 line by calling the constructor using this keyword. So that means in this video what we have seen is calling one constructor into another one, and then this keyword. Okay, so this is what we have seen in gadget class of constructors. Okay, thank you for watching.